give. I will give more than I have ever given, because there is always someone who needs more than me. I will give when I have nothing yet to give at all. I will find resources deep within my soul when I am empty. Sometimes music, thought, or a different perspective is enough to give. Life depends on my giving.
R, remember. I will remember the scars of my people, my ancestors, their stories, their rituals, their routines that made them smile. I'll hold those memories close to my heart as an infant holds onto their elders. This type of remembering is our responsibility. This type of remembering is our healing. My life depends on my remembering.
Imagine. I will imagine a world where I am the king or queen, nor binary supreme, or I will imagine a place where power has no place in it, nor race, nor gender, nor anything that confines me into cages. At times, my imagination is the only thing I own, my key out of my prison. My life depends on my imagining.
Orate. I will orate my story before someone orates it for me. Others might only speak about my pain and punishment. They may exploit all my secrets. They may forget about my pride. I will orate my story, my glory, the reason that I shine. My life depends on my orating.
Transform. I will transform my life so that I can transform the lives of others. I will remember that my transformation belongs to my village, for it is my responsibility as a transformer to understand what I transform from and to, so that nothing or no one can ever blind me. I will transform in many ways imaginable. My life depends on me transforming.
Write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trap me in the very dirt, but still like dust I'll rise. I'll rise, I'll rise, I'll rise.
Remember when you, LaShawn, asked me initially if I was willing to do this, it scared the shit out of me. Am I allowed to cuss? Okay. It scared me, to be honest, because for one, I didn't know what it meant to be a curator for a play. And you, LaShawn, are such a valuable person to me that I didn't want to do anything that would disappoint you. And this was not long after my father had passed, and I was still in a lot of grief and trying to learn what it is to live in a world without him. And I told you all those things. Like when you first asked me, I was like, I don't know if I can do it, I don't know. You were like, well, all I need you to do is read some poems and tell me what you think about them and what you feel. Like, this is Maya, you're Maya. This makes sense, it just makes sense. And I was like, well, okay, if you say so. And so I think in the beginning there was, just self-doubt, but as I started reading the poems, as we started having the conversations, it makes Maya and I are very, very aligned. There's so much in there that I didn't know and that I enjoyed reading, but I also feel like my own confidence in my abilities and what you saw in me, I can see in myself a little bit more.
You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but like dust, still I rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I got oil wells pumping in my living room?
Just like moons and like suns, with the certainty of tides, like hope springing high, still I rise.
Did you want to see me broken, bowed head and lowered eyes? Shoulders fallen down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries?
Does my hauntiness offend you? Don't you take it awfully hard? 'Cause I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words.
You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness, but still like air I rise.
Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. From a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a black ocean, leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I'd bear in the tide.
Into a daybreak that is wondrously clear, I rise.
Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave.
I am the dream and the hope of the slave.
I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise.
I rise, I rise, I rise.
And still I rise.
Aside from waitressing and retail jobs, Maya became a prostitute and eventually ran a brothel to support herself and her son. Maya's dance training and passion for words would save her from the slums, proving she was a star destined to make the world her stage. In 1951, Maya married her first husband, Anastasios Angelos, a Greek sailor. She'd retained her married surname even after they divorced 3 years later, changing Angelos to Angelou to make it her own. Throughout the 50s, Maya was a calypso dancer in nightclubs in Chicago, New York, and San Francisco, which inspired her first and last studio album, Miss Calypso, which was released in 1957.
Rancho, hey, the man's at the door, Rancho. Him man, he won't let me go, Rancho. Rancho, as fast as you can, Rancho. This police holding me hand.
She also spent a year touring Europe, Israel, and Egypt as a cast member of the U.S. State Department's production of Porgy and Bess, teaching modern dance classes along the way. During the 60s, Maya Angelou was very invested in the civil rights movement, keeping close relationships with organizers such as Martin Luther King Jr. and literary icons such as James Baldwin, who weren't afraid to speak on the inequalities of the Black experience in America. She even raised money for and served as the Northern Coordinator for the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, a socio-political organization co-founded by Dr. King. Maya Angelou served as a freelance writer and editor in Egypt and Ghana, and upon returning to the United States, she was encouraged to share the details of her adventurous life in a book. Initially, she was hesitant, but in 1969, Maya Angelou published her first autobiography, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. Chronicling the formative years of her life up until the birth of her son, Maya's seminal work would go on to be an instrumental tool in schools because of its poetic and innovative narrative structure. A decade later, the book was adapted into a TV movie for CBS. Maya Angelou's ambition and boundless creativity evolved from the stage to the page, and soon she'd conquer the screen. Maya first ventured in front of the camera in Calypso Heatwave, and as an uncredited dancer in the Academy Award-winning film adaptation of Porgy and Bess in 1959. I Loves You, Porgy, a popular song from the production, was recorded by Nina Simone and is considered her breakthrough hit. In March of 1972, her original screenplay, Georgia, Georgia, became the first screenplay written by an African-American woman to be produced as a movie. She briefly returned to the stage in 1973 for the Broadway play Look Away, which earned her a Tony Award nomination. In the 1977 miniseries Roots, Maya played Kunta Kinte's grandmother, the matriarch from which this dramatization of Alex Haley's family history from the slave trade to emancipation stems. Her next on-screen role came in 1993 as Aunt June in Poetic Justice, starring Janet Jackson and Tupac Shakur. Maya Angelou also penned the verses that made Justice poetic.
Where water is not thirsty and bread loaf is not stone. I came up with one thing, and I don't believe I'm wrong, that nobody can make it out here alone.
Some of her later appearances in front of the camera include Moesha, Sesame Street, and Medea's Family Reunion. Maya Angelou's directorial debut, Down in the Delta, premiered in 1998. She became one of the first African-American women to join the Directors Guild of America. This film was also one of Esther Roll from Good Times' last roles before she passed away only 3 months after it premiered. Maya published 7 autobiographies in total, each spanning distinct chapters of her life. She also won Grammy Awards for the spoken word recordings of On the Pulse of Morning, Phenomenal Woman, and a song Flung Up to Heaven. February 15, 2011, former President Barack Obama honored Maya Angelou with the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
The eye follows the land, slips upward, creases down, forms the gentle buttocks of a young giant. In the nestle, old adobe bricks washed of whiteness, paled to umber, await another century. Star, jasmine, and old vines lay claim upon the ghosted land. Then, quiet pools whisper private childhood secrets. Flush on inner cottage walls, antiquitous faces, used to the gay-lit breath of old manners, glare disdainfully over breached time. Around and through these cold phantasmalities he walks, insisting to the languid air, activity, music, a generosity of graces. His lupin fields spurn old deceit, and agile poppies dance in golden riot. Each day is fulminant, exploding brightly. Under the gaze of his exquisite sires, frozen in the famed paint of dead masters, audacious sunlight casts defiance at their feet.
Hi, my name's Camille Provençal. I'm the Scholars Program Director here at Bridge the Gap College Prep. We have been partnering with Griot, and it has been such a phenomenal partnership. We've been working with our 7th and 8th graders together in collaboration to ensure that students are getting really robust learning, especially about their roots. And so Griot right now is working on an amazing opportunity for students to learn about Maya Angelou and all the work she's done. And it goes really deep, right? It's not just about, her poems, but it goes deeper about who she is, how she was able to manifest this brilliant work. And it's great because some of the work that students are bringing out, they have these folders and they're able to really reflect and bring about and understand the entire experience, which is only making them really stronger. And I think there's like a deep understanding of the love of art and the written word that's really coming about. That's been really cool to see and experience alongside the students. When Center for Domestic Peace came in, I thought that was such an insightful way to bring about the experiences that Maya Angelou experienced in her real life and how it ties to her work. And so one of the things that Griot did that I thought was really cool was have students hear from a member of the community who works at the center speak about what domestic violence is, and then also how it connects to the author, but also how it connects to their real life. And so it was really cool to be able to experience that alongside students. And it's just like goes along all of the great work that's happening with Griot.
While on our journey of finding out who Maya Angelou was, we read a lot of her work. We didn't get a chance to read all of her 50 books and 167 published poems. However, we did stumble across her cookbook, Hallelujah, The Welcome Table, A Lifetime of Memories and Recipes by Maya Angelou. Dr. Maya Angelou was a true griot. In this book, she was able to capture delicious recipes and share the stories attached with each. She wrote stories about family, friends, and strangers. She was able to capture each character's essence on each page. Griot Theater Company invited 7 women out to cook 3 of Maya's dishes and to have conversations around some of the themes found in her texts. Also, to discuss the points of the heroine's journey. This is what we discussed.
Here on this soil, there's our boys are getting it from both angles in terms of the whittled down to these 2 emotions, but also not just here. In my travels to Africa, I'm dealing with girls who are getting cut.
Yeah.
And that's what they're expected to do. That's what their parents, their loving people who truly love them, expect them to do is cut out all pleasure.
Yeah.
It's a mandate. So it isn't black and white.
Yeah.
The safety, it's human. It's a human experience. How do we learn to cultivate purpose and power within ourselves and then call that into our sphere and create it?
Hi everyone, my name is Natalie Nong and I am a Griot ambassador. I design all of the posters, the t-shirts, and all of the other merchandise with the help of the amazing Good Stuff partners. We work really hard on each and every design and we would really appreciate it if you could go over to the Griot store, make some donations, and support all of the work that we do. Thank you so much for your support and we'll see you at the next show.
She thought it was going to shatter her to see that she had such a child that wasn't staying, wasn't staying in the cage, right? It wasn't staying right here. But even in, as you were saying, as you look back in retrospect, that fierce love that she had was a fierce love, but to watch her be able to grow from that. Amen. Because then when her daughter came back intact, to see that she grew. Amen. So even to watch her go through her fear of not wanting to let go for her story, and then to come to the other side. So no, I wouldn't want to pass on fear. Amen. I wouldn't want to pass on fear. And at the same time, I understand where it comes from.
Amen. Amen.
Hi, I'm Laurel.
And I'm Pixie, LeSean's mother.
And we are part of the Griot Giving Council, here today to tell you why we love Griot. I love it because I'm a retired educator, and for the first time I'm seeing equality in the arts coming to Marin City.
And I'm also a retiree from the Department of Corrections,
And I'm so excited of working for an organization outside defense who are actually bringing arts through theater to the children of Marin.
So how do we support this amazing organization that refuses to charge for tickets for anyone so that everyone can have theater? Write a text to 415-763-0102 and in the text box write Maya, M-A-Y-A, and send it, and you can donate that way.
Or you can visit our website and donate through our website. Thank you.
Thank you.
My mother abandoned me and my brother when I was 3 and my brother was 5. I didn't see her again except for a disastrous visit when I was 7 of 2 or 3 months when her boyfriend raped me. At 13, I went back to her. I didn't understand her. She didn't act anything like my grandmother. My grandmother was patient, kind, spoke slowly. Vivian Baxter spoke fast and she wiggled all the time. And she kept records on and songs and music and she wore lipstick and she danced. And I just couldn't get it. So I refused to call her mother. I called her lady. And she accepted that.
Many people couldn't overcome that initial abandonment. That would have been something impossible to overcome. What allowed you to overcome that and establish a relationship?
She loved me. And she said I really wasn't ready to be a parent. Then I realized there are some people who are great parents of small people. My mother was just the opposite. And then I saw she was very kind to people who maybe needed someone to be kind.
What are some of the universal elements that you have drawn from that relationship, the mother-daughter relationship?
I learned that love heals. Not sentimentality, but love. And her love healed me.
Ride me down in history, where the winds of disappointment dash my dream house to the ground. An anger octopus like wraps its tentacles around my soul. I just stop myself. I stop in my tracks and look for one thing that can help me. With your bitter, twisted lies. I find in my memory one child's face, any child's face, looking at a desired toy with sweet surprise, a child's face with hopeful expectations in his eyes. You may try me in the very dirt. The second I realize I am gazing at a face sweet with youth and innocence, I am drawn away from gloom and despair and into the pleasure climate of hope. But still like dust I rise. The emotional sway of events and the impermanence of construction echo the ways of dying love. I have found that the platonic affection in friendships and the familial love for children can be relied upon with certainty to lift the bruised soul and repair the wounded spirit, and I am finished with erotic romance. Alright. Until. Alright. Until. Alright. Until. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may try me in the very dirt, but still at dust I'll rise. I'll rise, I'll rise, I'll rise. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may try me in the very dirt, but still at dust I'll rise. I'll rise, I'll rise, I'll rise. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may try me in the very dirt, but still at dust I'll rise. I'll rise, I'll rise, I'll rise.
I'm Ashley.
And I'm Kenya.
And we're 8th grade students at Bayside MLK.
We are incredibly excited to be running this year's social media accounts for Griot Theater Company.
You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram.
We hope to see you soon.
Thank you.